Why, I believe it means angel. Why, yes, I'm sure it does. I know you're going to like that name. Won't you, Peter?
Fury, now or never.
Dun, 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 dun. Finally, a superhero team I can actually get behind.
This Organized Chaos podcast is brought to you by Gems Art Studio. Gems Art Studio is an online store that allows access to prints that you can use for most anything, obviously as just a picture, or as a wallpaper, or as a bookmark, or anything you can think of. You can find Gems Art Studio at etsy.com/shop/Gems Art Studio. This podcast is also brought to you by listeners like you. Thank you. Are we ready for another cultural touchstone here?
Oh, yes, I am ready for some great trash. Are you?
Ooh, I think we're ready for some great trash.
So, you have not seen this, correct?
Not until last night. No.
Okay. Off of just first impression, before seeing it, like reading a synopsis or a description on the cover.
Yeah, I went into it as cold as possible. This was an experience. I wrote down a couple of first thought notes. I didn't get very far into the movie, but I did think it would be fun to kind of read these out.
Okay.
First of all, the opening credits, we have bright camp scenery and this really dark music, but they haven't really given us anything. So I'm like, did the bright camp scenery mix with the I dig the bright camp scenery mixed with the intense horror music. Just like
the
yeah, and we're just seeing shots of fucking cabins and shit.
And a little bit of like disembodied chanting voices of kids at summer camp.
Yes. I immediately noticed the A+ acting in this movie. The acting is just
they're kid actors. They were kids. Children.
Well, not far into it we get that mom. The
God. Mother. Yes, we'll get to Martha.
we get the pedophile with the baldies. That's terrifying. Thank you for giving me that
chickens?
image.
You mean that fresh chicken?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Early on, my impression was this is somehow a cheaper Friday the 13th.
Yes, it did in fact start as kind of one of those, and this did come out in the heyday of the 80s teen slasher. Pretty much a lot of this was done on a whim and on a cheap budget, obviously.
Yes.
With a lot of community actors and legit people, like all the paramedics that you see were legit EMS workers.
Oh, wow. I didn't know.
So that's kind of a fun little fact about it.
There's almost... I'm almost off my notes real fast. There's almost a man-sized pot of boiling water. I wonder what will happen. What could happen? Yeah, and then the final note, obviously this changes after I made this note, but I made this note. Kind of dig the guy in charge of the camp. Everything's an accident.
Yeah. Obviously, your opinion of him changed.
Yeah, it changes like almost as soon as that one. But it's like after a couple kills, he's like, "It was just an accident."
Not a word of this.
Yes.
Hey, how does $15 extra for the rest of you and $50 for you?
Yes.
How does that sound?
Yes.
All right. I mean, not gonna lie, as a cook, it'd be like, all right, whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's like, yeah, okay, so he died. Not crying.
Cool. We still have a service, right?
Yeah. So, like, his job's open, right? Oh, you're giving it to him? Well, I get a raise. Okay. I get a raise.
Yeah. Well, you see, all right. So, this movie opens up on a lake in a camp scene, like you had mentioned. The score is all over the place with some disembodied dialogue to it. We go to a lake with some small kids, a boy and a girl on a boat. Where these kids are introduced to us as Peter and Angela. They're on a boat, and you see them sit there with their father. You also see some older teens water skiing with one girl who is not having a good day.
Mm-hmm.
She is not enjoying herself water skiing at all. And this kid is probably one of the better actors in this whole movie.
God, yes.
And you see some two teens in there, a girl trying to like, come on, let me drive it. Oh, I can't. So he ends up, okay, I'll let you, just be careful. She super speeds the boat. The kids flip the boat with their dad. He calls them like, what is it? Like, you little scamps.
Yeah.
Something like that. The teens crash into that boat and the two little kids, killing one of the small kids and the father.
Yes.
And you see one guy have a horrified look, a girl freaking out who was water skiing, still not having a good day.
Well, yeah, it's so crazy because I was watching it. It's like the capsized boat is actually not that far away from the shore when you're watching the movie. So even if she doesn't hit the boat, she's gonna hit land. What the fuck is she doing?
And hit that guy standing on the land.
Yeah, she is like, they're maybe only 20 feet out. What are you doing? Maybe.
And what's even weirder about that is if you remember when the boat was upright before it flipped, that had a giant pole on it that had a sail attached.
Yes.
The boat would not be completely upside down in water that shallow.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I didn't even look at that closely.
But hey, you know,
I haven't thoroughly researched this one. This is what I get.
Yeah, well, that's something that's always bothered me with it.
Oh, there's so much going on.
Yeah. Anyways, we find out that one of the kids had died along with their father. The surviving child, the daughter, Angela.
Wink. You see, I'm winking. Do you see the wink?
Yeah. I'm happy you caught that. She went to go live with her aunt and her aunt Martha, who actually I just found out was named Martha. They had said it earlier in the film. I just missed it when I was making my notes. Mm-hmm. And her cousin Ricky. Ricky is he cares a lot about his cousin, I think, you know. He wants to protect her, knows that she had a rough go of it, and, you know, looks after her. Oh, and his mom is batshit crazy.
Oh, God, the mom is just...
Like, that. There are some choices that actors take when being cast in a role. I don't know what she did, but wow.
I meant to put together a clip for this show, but you can see it in the opening. She is mental and just all types of bad. Oh. I
sent you some pics of. I sent a few pics over.
Oh, I did see an email notification. Let's see if I can bring something over. That mouse doesn't work.
I should have mentioned that earlier. But yes, this mom, just wow. I mean, wow. Mm-hmm. I really think like she kind of makes Shatner look world class.
Oh God, yeah. There's no comparison
in the sense of acting choices. I mean, you know, Shatner will do like the pauses for dramatic effect.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think like she was maybe having a conversation with herself and two other people that we weren't aware of.
Yeah.
But all carrying it herself.
It's possible.
She remarks about how she is a physician. Yep. Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I don't think I can get particularly high res. I just
Camp Arawak.
But yeah, I'm not. It actually comes into play not in this situation, but I was actually watching this character and wondering if it was actually a man.
Not yet.
Yeah, we're not.
Okay, this is also a movie made in 1983 that has been low-key parodied a lot. Mm-hmm. Just, you know, not necessarily that well known. There's a dramatic film that has a very similar surprise in it.
Yes.
It's just a little bit more well known, and it was a classy pick. It was made by Miramax. They make the piano. shit like that. Or made, since Mayor Max no longer exists. But she also informs them, and I think this is thrown in as like a way for people to pay attention, but it does totally sound like a throwaway line, which is, oh, they wouldn't ask anything. I'm a doctor after all. Yes, why, as a matter of fact, I am. Yes. That's not an exaggeration. That is pretty much how that woman reads lines.
No, it's... I mean, you could probably YouTube it. Just go on YouTube, look up probably Ant from Sleepaway Camp. Oh my god, it's pretty cringe, honestly. She is bad. She is...
Yeah. What's funny is I've seen this before, but I still made this note because I tried to think about... It's hard when you write a review for a movie you've seen a million times and are a fan of. So it's like I had to watch it with fresh eyes. So what I did was I just kind of watched it with fresh eyes, and I kind of did text back and forth with a buddy of mine who introduced me to this, and I asked him, hey, do you remember some of my first thoughts from this? Though it was like 8 years ago when you first showed me this movie.
Yeah.
But he said, I do remember one. Right after the scene with the mother, you said, I hope she's gone forever.
Yeah, no shit.
And I wrote that down. It made me laugh.
Sadly, she is not gone forever. Fortunately, it's not.
She doesn't chew up as much scenery. Yeah.
I mean, with all the kids in this movie, it takes a special type of lack of talent to be the worst actor here, and I think she captures it quite easily, honestly. Yeah.
Okay, so when they arrive at camp, they're greeted by the person who is running camp, Mel. He runs it, and he also looks like he runs a bookie's office out the back of the camp. We also have muscle repetition Ronnie standing there directing all the kids in. We also see a line of cooks, one in particular standing up front looking like he is just enjoying the scenery and the show. He is a pedophile. No way to sugarcoat that other than, he refers to them as fresh chicken and baldies. Oh.
This is not our pedophile. This is our camp counselor. We will get to the pedophile because I do have a video clip of him later. I know.
Yes, that's Mel. Mel, he does look like, and he always has that fucking cigar.
Yeah, largely. He is a baffling character, I will say that.
He is a monologuing character at that.
Yeah.
This guy, it's like your own. I forgot his name at first while I was watching it because I was thinking, I've seen this enough. That's Lou.
Yeah.
Nope, his name is Mel.
Oh, how dare you get it wrong?
Well, I mean, I wasn't too far off.
No. 3 letters, shortened name. It's fine.
Short name. One I would associate with a bookie.
Yeah.
Lou and Mel.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. And Ronnie. I don't think I have I sent you one of Ronnie. I think I might have. No. Ronnie is this, he just looks like your typical juice head. Super Italian and super buffed out.
Oh, yes. I know.
He's got some very dangerously dangling shorts on. And usually sleeveless.
Yeah. There was a couple outfits that some of the guys wore here where I was like, okay, that's what we're going with for today?
Early 80s.
Sure.
Yeah, we had crop top jean later.
Oh, yeah.
I think I sent you that one. Oh, God. But also, fun fact, though, the older cook that was with them, did his voice sound familiar at all to you? The guy who said, Artie, they're too young to even know what you're talking about. That guy?
Here, I'll bring up a picture of who I think you are talking about, who I'm like 90% sure who you're talking about.
He should be the only pick with a full name.
Are you talking about this guy?
Let me move my window. Yep.
Okay.
That is Robert Earl Jones.
Okay.
Or Ben as the character's name. He is father to James Earl Jones.
Oh my God, he's his father. Holy shit.
Yep. Yeah.
He could not be young when this came out.
No. yeah, this was 1980, 83, I want to
83
say.
is the year.
Yes,
right.
83. But yeah, that's just a kind of a fun little side fact. I think he just was kind of lived in the area and was like, oh yeah, I saw the call, I'll just do it. What the heck? But yeah, Artie is a pedo, and yeah.
He does look a lot like James Earl Jones if you bring him up on IMDb, his profile picture. That looks like James Earl Jones.
Yeah. Yes, he does.
Long lived. He died in 2006 at the age of 96.
Wow.
So that would mean when he did this movie, he was 73, if my math is correct.
Wow. 73, jeez.
Wow. He does not look young, so...
No.
But that being said, damn. Yeah. Of course, how old is James Earl Jones now? You got me down a rabbit hole.
The rabbit hole.
He is 21 years younger.
Wow. Okay.
It makes sense.
Yeah. So, all right, where are we?
We were talking about James Earl Jones, obviously. No.
Yes, obviously, yes. Okay, then we are then introduced to Ricky's friend, Paul, and he also tells Ricky. Paul tells Ricky about Judy's boobs.
Oh yes, I remember that.
Yes. Later, we're in the girls' bunk. We're introduced to Judy outside, and she is just. Yeah, she is just a bitch.
Yes, yeah.
She's such a bitch, but it's kind of great. I'll later get to it. It's a fun thing about her. If you were to see this actress at conventions, she has a special item that she carries and autographs.
Really?
And it's just what you think it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, she has a great sense of humor about it.
Sure.
In the girls' bunk, we're introduced to their counselor, Meg, who is a terrific speller. Meg is a great speller. She is the head of that girls' cabin, and the other counselor, Susie. Susie works the complaint department. That's about all there was for Susie. But yes, Meg is the head of there, and also a friend of Judy's. Meg is just also such a bitch.
Yeah, this movie is kind of filled with a lot of really unlikable characters, which is kind of standard for horror movies, especially of the time.
It is, and it's one of the things that also I feel makes horror very great because, with that, you get to see these terrible characters and their demise.
Yeah.
So it's kind of you're rooting for it. And it makes it good. And Meg just is definitely an example of how it just, you can't wait for it. You're just so patient.
Yes. There's a lot to say about that one, because that one, we'll get to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I were to think of it as like, her role in this as like an actual counselor.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people at this camp that would have been so fucking sued.
Yeah. No, this camp is all over the place.
So fucking sued. All right, later in the mess hall, we find out that Angela hasn't eaten since pretty much she's got the camp. But, resting heart rate Ronnie is here, and he takes her to the kitchen to the pedo Artie to see if Artie could find some food or something for her in the walk-in, because according to Artie, you never know what you'll find in the walk-in.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where Artie starts to show his true colors and gets super cringy. He asks, there anything you like? Well, I know something you like. He starts undoing his pants.
Yeah.
But right before that scene, we do see Ricky come up to the girls' table, ask where she is. And, they say, oh, Ronnie took her to the kitchen. Did she? What do you think? And they were just shitty to it. And, Meg just being a bitch, Judy laughing, feeding into it. Ricky goes back there and then gets physically accosted by the cook and threatened.
Yes. But then they get away and they're like, hey, the other cooks are watching and they're like, hey, what happened? And the other guy is literally coming out and putting his belt back on.
Mel's like, what happened?
Yeah.
I guess I scared him off. Yeah, I guess so.
While you put your belt back on, dude.
You are so fucking sued.
Yeah.
So fucking sued. Oh, yeah, that was...
It wasn't cringe at all.
So, yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that pot of water because later we see Artie and Ben prepping for dinner with a ridiculously large pot on the stovetop of boiling water for all the corn they're peeling.
Mm-hmm.
This pot, now, after like the sub shop closed at the college, I went to work upstairs for like about a year after that.
Oh, okay.
And there are pots that are made for like mass cooking like that. Like there was a few there.
Mm-hmm.
There was one that probably went up to about my hip. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, standing.
Mm-hmm.
So they could get that big. And I've seen them like that. And honestly, the first time I saw one out, I just stood away from it. Like, yeah, no.
Yeah. That's not terrifying.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. What I do love, this was also just me as a cook, my nitpick with it, where he's waiting and he's like looking for it to boil. So he's like, oh, still needs a few more minutes yet. It's not ready. So obviously it's not boiling.
Yeah.
He pours salt in it.
Yeah. No, that confused the fuck out of me. Just like, what?
That just... I had to stop because I had missed so much. So, all right. So now we're treated to a kind of an homage to one of the very first slasher films, Halloween, a first-person view. We see them watch Artie mess with this thing because he goes to check it. It burns. He goes to pour some salt in it, and it's not there. So he goes into a pantry to go get some more. We then see the first-person view walk in. The other cook left to go get some hay. I don't know what he meant by that. I don't. I looked it up. I couldn't even find anything regional for like state New York.
It's almost like this isn't the most well put together movie ever.
So then we see like the first person view hide behind the table, right where the ridiculous pot of water is. See Artie go up, stand on the chair, try to shake some salt in, and then we see some hands push him. He loses his balance, so he's holding like against the shelf, trying not to fall into the water. And you know, he's like, "Oh, come on, kid, I'll help you out." We see hands. Out, and we have Taserface.
Yes, yeah.
Now, in the version I have, I don't know about the one that you watched. This scene goes on for a minute.
Oh yeah, no, I put this on. Like I'm slowing it down to help with the copyright stuff. That being said, it goes on for a long time. It's like, okay, I think we got it.
And he's still screaming even in that body bag.
Yes.
Yeah. So this scene like goes on for a minute. He's horribly burned, not killed, but still, he kind of got what was coming to him.
I kind of wish I had a clip of Austin Powers. I'm not dead. I'm just very badly burned.
Yeah. Like, I kind of feel that he had that coming.
Oh God, yeah. No,
I don't really feel bad about it, but we are treated to some really great looking practical effects in that very long cut, though. Like that's some really great makeup.
Yeah.
Oh no, Ben.
Which goes all over the place in this.
Yeah, you see it pus up there on the cheek.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see here. Later, Mel and Ron are talking to the doctor. Mel urges the doctors to move it along and tell Ronnie not a word to anyone and bribes the cooks for more money.
Yes.
With more money for silence. Next day, we go to Ricky's cabin where they're pulling a prank on a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Where pretty much they blindfold him and make him do a sit-up right into some bare butt.
Yeah, I did not grab a clip of that for some reason.
Well, probably, child pornography and...
Yeah, no, that's kind of a thought going through my head. It's like,
We papped the flesh last time. Let's...
Yeah.
I never did summer camps as a kid, so I don't know if that's like a thing.
Well, yeah, okay, pranks, sure, but what?
Sure, yeah, but that level.
Yeah, no, it was.
The one they did latter is more like the pranks I did when I was that age.
Yeah, the pranks, at least especially that prank, doesn't feel like a prank that's from summer camp. It feels like a prank a writer would come up with, putting about 2 minutes thought into it at most.
To have a way to open this scene.
Yeah, let's just do a prank. What prank? Fuck it. But
after that, that kid, Ricky's counselor comes in, and he's a guy named Gene who is crop top everything.
Yeah,
he's got a crop top shirt that cuts off to about right here.
Yeah,
and some little exercise shorts with calf high socks. Gene ain't fucking around when it comes to crop tops.
Yeah.
Oh, and after that, we get a baseball game.
Yes.
We get a full baseball game.
And it's firmly established that crop top kid is a jerk. So I'm sure he has a long life.
Yeah, the other crop top kid at the other boys' cabin. There's like 2 different boys' cabins, I believe, and yeah, this movie has something that I've always kind of hinted at, but wasn't quite able to put my thumb on it, and it was that this is kind of like a teen melodrama that segues into a serial killer movie.
Yeah. Well, one thing that definitely, because this is something, it's so much like Friday the 13th in a lot of ways, but it does something that Friday the 13th doesn't do, and it's mainly focused on the kids, whereas in Friday the 13th, it's all about the counselors, almost exclusively, with a couple of exceptions here or there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and I kind of think that this is just a nice take on that.
Yeah, there's actually a couple of clever ideas here. One of them we'll get to at the end when we get to the reveal at the end.
Yes. So after the game, there's like some sort of social at the rec hall.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is there. We see those older group of boys who lost the game, looking for girls to go skinny dipping with. We will get to that.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
It's a little problematic, but we will get to that.
Well, this movie has problematic stuff? Oh my god! Oh.
They try to persuade Angela, but quickly turn to mocking her. Mel shows up in his best caddy attire, while Ricky in his 7-gallon hat and Paul show up. All the boys get into a fight. Yeah, this is kind of like a really scene that escalated super quickly, but really didn't go anywhere, advancing the plot.
And I do want to bring up Angela real quick, because something that is kind of established by this point in the movie is how she is just the quiet one. She really doesn't talk at all. She seems exactly positioned to be a final girl. She is just almost to the T an example of a final girl.
She really is. Like, she had a troubling past, kind of coming to something new and for a new experience, a brightened horizon. Mm-hmm. She's super shy, super quiet. Yeah, she really doesn't say a thing to anybody.
She doesn't like to talk to the boys,
Yeah, a lot of the girls in that cabin are super fucking bitchy to her.
Yeah.
Except for Susie. Susie, who was like the complaint department, she was actually very nice to her. That, like, right when there's a scene where Susie sits down on the bed with her and helps her unpack and is just being very, very kind to her. Like, I kind of felt like it wasn't really emphasized enough, but it was just kind of like, oh, hey, you see that? See, there's a nice one here. But, yes. I think something that we did get up to in this one, let me see here. Let me make sure. Yeah, that's right. Paul comes up to Angela, kind of reintroduces himself, says, I'm a good friend of Ricky's, He told me about what happened. I'm really sorry. And he was just being very nice to her.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the first person other than Ricky to be nice to her at this camp. And I believe she did, that was a scene where she did speak for the first time in the film. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, yes.
That was the first time.
Because it does make a pretty big deal about it.
Yeah, because they did have an swelling score with it. Yeah, so they kind of start their own little summer camp romance.
Yes.
And that's again, focusing on the kids. Later, we go see those older boys trying to convince a group of girls to go skinny dipping. There's like 12 of these guys trying to convince these 6 girls to go skinny dipping.
Mm-hmm.
One of them convinces a girl to get in a canoe with him, which he later tips. And for some reason, he decides to submerge himself back underneath it and just to talk inside of it.
Yeah, he starts trying to talk to her while he's underneath it, even though it's very, very clear she's left like an hour ago. What the fuck you doing, bud?
Yeah. We see a shadowy figure pop up and stick his head underneath, and he's dead.
Yes.
So, yeah. We see a lifeguard the next morning cleaning up after that party and being super mad about it.
Yeah. And I believe this is still the point where Mel's going, oh my god, this is just an accident, guys. It's an accident. We're not going to focus on this.
Oh, this is what he said. Better not scare the kids. While there's a group standing behind him. My note. Side note. Mel is so fucking sued.
Yeah.
So fucking
great.
sued.
I don't know what you're talking about. You know.
The cook, yeah, he'd have OSHA up his ass.
Yeah.
The kid, fucking sued.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking sued. This, Mel and, I called him Rowing Machine Ronnie this time. They're talking to a police with a real mustache. We'll come back to that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, Mel's convinced it was a freak accident. He's going to go call Kenny's parents. Relay race, Ronnie recalls him being a really good swimmer. I had fun writing all these different names for Ronnie. He was really probably one of the decent camp counselors at this camp. Angela's cabin girls are they're playing volleyball. Paul sits next to her. Right. They chat a little. Asked to go see a movie in the rec hall. Judy is a bitch.
Judy? What?
Yeah. Susie calms the situation down. You know, after the movie, they're seen holding hands, and then Judy is fixated on them as they're leaving. And yeah, Judy is a bitch, and you know, Judy is just acting real Judy-ish throughout this. Later at the boys' cabin, we see them pull a different prank on the same kid. They fill his hand up with shaving cream and tickle his nose with the flour.
Yes.
However, unlike the first time, he reacts a little bit outrageous this time.
Fuck yeah, holy, that was intense.
He pulls a buck knife on the kids.
Yes. It's one of those things where it's like, whoa, dude.
Whoa,
I understand you're pissed, but back the fuck down, man.
Whoa, joke.
Yeah.
Joke. The counselor takes it away from him, threatens to go get, repetition Ronnie on the scene.
Yeah, it's one of the few scenes where I'm like 100% behind what the counselor's doing in this moment.
100%.
Like, whoa, he's disciplining the kids, and I am 100% behind that one. In fact, it's an understatement, if anything.
My opinion, you're being a little lax about this, bro.
Fucker pulled a knife, man.
Pulled a fucking knife.
Yeah.
We need to get this kid sleeping on his own.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and then they do a dog pile to Paul for reasons. because he's in love. Yeah, later we see Paul sneaking up on Angela, to surprise her. Then Hurricane Judy shows up, and, Judy is just being Judy, and she goes to get the Megalodon, and Meg is super aggressive, screaming at her this time, but luckily Roundhouse Ronnie is there to stop.
Yeah.
Later at the cabin, Judy is being confrontational because, fucking Megalodon got in trouble for screaming at a kid. And then, Judy says that, calls Angela a carpenter's dream, and Susie had to slap that bitch in the mouth. All right. And where's my next? Oh, there it is.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of wrote these as run-on sentences. My word pad started kind of deleting words I had already.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so I kind of had to return, write my sentence, delete. Okay, so they're kind of run on here. Right. Later we see, after that, Angela asks to go see her cousin. She's walking. We see those same older boys on the roof of their cabin. They peg her with a water balloon.
Yeah.
she falls down, and then Ricky lets out a barrage of cursing.
He makes a huge deal about it, and of all the pranks in this movie, it's like,
Yeah, that's
shit happens. That seems like something kids would probably do.
Hey, I get your anger. That ain't cool. That ain't cool, and it ain't cool to do to a girl like that's prepubescent teen girl. That's really not fucking cool.
Yeah.
Even for a summer camp. It's not that cool. But, then Mel comes in and says, hey, you guys could have taken her eye out. You foul mouth, you calm down. Like, Mel, I kind of think that's more the bigger issue.
Yeah.
Not so much that they're throwing balloons. They're on the fucking roof. You are going to be fucking sued.
Yes. No, this camp is in so much trouble.
Yeah, so later we see the head who was throwing the balloons. After dinner, he runs back. He's going to take a wicked dump.
Yes. And we get, I did not get a clip of this, but there are some great shots of his feet as he's taking a wicked dump. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we see a hand come up, cut a screen door, drop a beehive in there, and apparently the kid's super allergic to bees because he becomes honeycomb.
Yeah, no, he gets covered with bees. He's dead.
There is no way there was that many bees in that side.
And what baffles me is that we see his feet. Can he not crawl out? What is...
Like, was it that literal, like was he trying to break a Keurig record? Like...
He clearly was strong enough to break the door, because it does eventually break the door down, but it's too late. But if he's that desperate, just crawl out. Get on the floor of the bathroom, dude.
Go out the fucking window!
Yeah, there's options here. You are not stuck in this position. You are...
Oh. Obviously, he wasn't too bright.
No.
Yeah. So, we watch it, like, it drop on him. He dies. Mel is finished, and he's having a crisis at this point.
Yeah, this is the point where what I said about Mel no longer applies, because he's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. Ronnie decides to, maybe we should just consolidate the camp and move everybody together so we're not all spread out, know?
Mm.
Which, hey, smart.
No, we need to split up so they can't get us as bad.
Yeah, well, that way, also, he can keep his eye on everyone at once. Smart. Mel is convinced it's the killer, and he's convinced it's Ricky.
Yeah, do we know why Mel suspects that? Because
of his foul mouth.
So he thinks he's the killer because of his foul mouth.
Yeah, and also he thinks that whenever she's in trouble, he always gets her out of it and saves her. Okay. And he says all this, later at the lake, where Megalodon and Judy go to throw Angela in the water.
I just remember thinking that is so flimsy. I didn't know if there's anything else to it.
Yeah. So we are then seen. We are then seen to that first person view, but we see Angela waiting outside of a cabin at night, kind of looking around like she's looking for somebody. We see a hand reach out and grab her, and it's Paul. Fake out.
Oh.
No. And we see them run off to the beach, have a little happy moment. Then she starts having a weird flashback when she was younger with her brother spying on her father and his male lover.
Yes, and it was treated. It was very much treated like, oh my god, what is the issue? Is the door's open? She shouldn't be able to see that, but
and they were really just spooning.
Yeah, and it was so. I felt like so much it was treated like, oh my god. 2 men in bed. Oh my god.
Yeah, but I did think that it kind of treated it the way it was depicted in that dream sequence, like all black background with a white light on top of the bed. Like, yeah. A little bit, but also it's just kind of like, okay, they're kind of just treating it as kids not understanding that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I thought was weird was the little sequence that followed that, with the two of them sitting on a bed and the camera spinning around them, or bed spinning, probably more likely.
And the Ricky was pointing at Angela, just saying,
you. Peter.
Oh, it
brother.
was Peter?
Yeah.
You see, I've
It
only
was
seen
Peter
it
and
once.
Angela.
Okay.
Yes. Well, the two little kids at the beginning, Peter and Angela,
Yes. Okay, I gotcha.
they were siblings, and
Yes.
Ricky is their cousin. Yes. So they were like pointing at each other, and the camera was just kind of going around the bed. It was a really weird one because it was doing dissolves where we would see it spinning, and it would stop when it would get to Ricky, and then stop when it would get to Angela, but it would still be the still of them going towards the other, and it was
Now
weird.
You've done it. You called him Ricky.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Peter. Yes. But yeah, it was just a really, I mean, it was a cool camera dissolve trick. Like it looked cool, but
yeah.
weird. Weird because it's like no context. Just a weird dream. Anyways, it freaks her out and she just pushes him off and just, leaves. Later, we're at a game of capture the flag. Paul apologizes for being so handsy with Angela. She's just like, I'm just not ready. I'm not ready. Judy sees this, decides to try to seduce Paul and be extra Judy-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Ricky is right. Judy is a scumbag.
Yeah.
Later, back at the beach, Paul apologizes to Angela again for being a jerk face. Judy slimes her way back over being extra cunty. Angela looks pissed. Judy is antagonizing her, and then about going in the water, Meg is here, and they pick her up and throw her in the water.
Yes.
Angela hasn't, and I want to make a note, like at this point in the movie, Angela really hasn't been willing to participate in a lot of any of the activities on camp, and Susie's been very understanding. Like, you had a rough go of things.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. You could just sit here. That's fine.
Well, they do make the point of saying she doesn't shower with the rest of them. Yeah, she very much keeps to herself.
And they do mention a lot of that, but they're kind of they sprinkle that throughout dialogue with it, and so much of it is just you dismiss it.
Yeah.
But they do that for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
But we will get to that reason.
Yeah.
Later, we see a counselor's meeting. We find out that Meg has the night off, and she brings up that Mel owes her dinner.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, so Mel's baning the Megalodon. Or is fixing to.
Are they? Yeah. I'm like, really? And she is the one that brings it up to him. So it's like, really? You're looking at Mel and just like, oh yeah, get me a piece of that one. I need me some 60-year-old man ass. Fuck yeah. Oh, yeah.
Geriatricisms. Oh yeah.
Fuck.
Meg is so Meg goes back, has a date, goes back to shower, asks if she can cut in front of any of them. They all look at her and go, "Bitch, please."
Yeah. But I need my 60-year-old man ass. I need
my wife's words, actually. I was like, yeah, they really did give her that look.
Yeah.
But anyway, she goes to the cabin that is just attached to theirs. Obviously, low turnout this year.
Yeah, I'm really kind of confused why they don't if there's such a line to the showers, why don't they just
utilize both of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I get maybe they're not supposed to, but if they're not supposed to, why can't Meg? Why can't?
Well, probably because the other shower on the other side of the cabin has two dangers in it. Ooh. One, you can get stabbed through the thin shower walls, and also lover boy.
Ooh, yes. I remember that lover boy thing. I was like, really?
Poster.
Lover boy has a cameo.
And you just dated your movie.
Everybody is working on the copyright.
I'm trying to find scroll. There we are. There we are. Yes. So yes, Meg gets killed.
Yes, and Mel is very distraught over it, which
he will be distraught.
Get. Yeah, he hasn't found her yet, but he is noticed she's late for the date, and he's asking everybody where she's at.
And later we see Paul and Angela talking out in front of the rec hall. They get interrupted by Judy and a boy. Gross. Just because Judy. And Angela tells Paul to meet her at the lake after the social.
Ooh.
So We see later during the counselor meeting, we find out one of the counselors, Eddie, gets to take all his little small campers, his wee little children, out to camp under the stars by the lake. Oh, also, I wanted to mention those same children when Meg and Drudy threw Angela into the lake earlier. These little kids were kicking sand at her.
Yeah.
She was leaving, and Ricky called them little fuckers.
Yeah.
I'd seen this movie probably like 10 times, and I just caught the fact that he called them fuckers.
Ah, the little details.
I was probably laughing for 5 minutes about that. Like, called them fuckers.
Yeah.
Oh, so he gets to go out and camp with them. Yay for Eddie. I don't envy him. Not at all. Then we see them get settled in, and we see them go to bed. Eventually we get cut back to them. One of them wakes up and is like, Eddie, I'm cold, I can't sleep. Another one says, yeah, can we go back to camp? And he's like, all right. He takes a few of them back to their cabin. And then we see the first person view walk in on the campsite, look down and see a hatchet. Then we cut away. So we'll find out about this reveal, but yeah, so they hatchet a bunch of fucking kids in this movie.
Yeah.
The killer kills small fucking kids.
Yes. It's kind of like, oh, we need to boost that kill count, guys. Okay.
I really think that's just a super ballsy move.
Yeah.
For a horror film.
Yeah.
A super ballsy move.
Yay.
I mean, you could kill a dog or a cat or a pet, and that's just like almost par for the course with these type of films.
Yeah.
But kids, ooh, that's some like shaky ground you're on there, man.
Yeah, very Anakin Skywalker-y of them.
Yeah, the Hills Have Eyes remake did it. I think, or at least they kept teasing it. They kept teasing it. All right, so back to Arawak. Mel is looking for Meg. He eventually finds her, and then he starts monologuing over her perfectly propped and fallen corpse.
Yes, it is so. I just don't care.
Yeah. Before he goes in and finds her, we see Judy in that cabin with that boy. Mel goes in and asks her, said, I saw her over there. The boy's hiding under the bed. After that, he leaves because he's like, oh, I don't want to get caught by Mel.
Yeah.
Oh. And then we later see her curling her hair.
And everything turns out well for her after that.
Yeah. And then, we see a shadowy figure open the door, but if you have the high definition version, you could tell it's just one of the actors wearing a wig.
Yes. Yeah, I saw that. It was super quick cut, and it was just like, okay.
Wait a minute. Yeah, it's like, wait a minute.
It looked like a dude in a wig. It was a dude in a wig. Yeah.
It was Ricky in a wig, to be exact.
Okay.
Let's see. And we see the figure walk in. Judy goes, ow, it's you. What do you want? Judy gets a knuckle sandwich. And then she gets a curling iron placed. They suggest it was in her crotch.
So and what, like next to it? What are you implying?
I can't tell if it was stuck on or in or something. It was used in that general region as a means of pain, as well as probably suffocation with a pillow. And then the body discarded underneath the bed, and the bed pushed back up against the wall. But yes, if you go to a Comic-Con and the actress who plays Judy, she actually has like that type of curling iron, and she will sign the box.
Nice.
I mean, that's almost kind of like, yeah, I would pay for that.
Yeah. It's
That's funny.
I don't know. That imagery, it makes me think of the line from Top Secret. We found this, and we found them with this in this position. It took an hour to get the smile off their face.
Oh God, that's a great one. Oh, Eddie comes back to his campers. Eddie pukes. Eddie is also so fucking sued. All right, Ricky is making his way back to the mess hall. A counselor is stopping him, but he lets him go in because they both agree that dinner was shit.
What?
Yeah. All right, Mel. After that, Ricky's leaving. Mel attacks Ricky, beats the shit out of this kid in the woods. Mel is still so fucking sued.
Yes. I think it's fair to say Mel's given up at this point.
Yeah, at this point, he's like beyond chapter 11.
Yeah. It's like, I'm already fucking sued. Fuck it.
He decides he needs to get the fuck out of Dodge, so he runs away through the archery range and gets an arrow through the neck. And in my opinion, the best practical effect in this whole movie.
Quite possibly. I have it up on here, and it doesn't look bad. Like, you can definitely tell the back is a spring-loaded piece.
Yeah, you could see it shoot up and how it doesn't exactly line up.
And there is a layer on his neck of something
that you can clearly see, because this is like a restored version of the film. Yeah,
it's a much higher def version than we're supposed to see, because his neck is a slightly different color. I imagine it's some sort of protection, and it's like, I guess there's probably shooting a retractable arrow at him. I can't imagine they're doing something that crazy, but maybe. I don't know how it sticks there. Normally,
if it's like a retractable one that's mounted on with like to this piece here, my question is, how would are like the feathers on the end of the arrow spring loaded to pop out as well?
Well, are you talking about the back?
Yeah,
easily. The back is easier because you don't actually see what's back there. There could be a whole rig back there you don't see.
You kind of see
it's the front that's kind of confuses me.
Yeah, the front is really where I'm stuck with it, because you see, it looks like it goes in, so it looks like it could possibly just be like, I don't know, maybe a magnet.
Yeah, it's weird. It looks like, if you actually watch the movie in real time, it actually looks a little flimsy. It doesn't look particularly great. But, like, I found if I played it slow-mo or frame by frame, I'm like, that's actually not too bad. Obviously, it'd be bloodier. The bloodlessness is kind of a giveaway.
Give and take with grading boards and everything.
It's not the worst thing ever. I'm actually kind of amazed, because some of the stuff in here is the worst thing ever. But
so, all right. Ronnie gets a phone call alerting him, and he gets the other counselors. You see this happen before Ricky gets accosted in the background. Ronnie gets a phone call from, I think, Eddie, going, dude, you won't believe this. So Ronnie rallies up all the counselors that are there, and they get that same police officer to show up who was there earlier. Do you have the before and after pic?
I don't have before and after. I just have.
I think
you did send me one. But here's the after.
This is the after. This cop was in here earlier after that kid drowned.
And then rather than just say that he shaved his mustache, they stuck that thing on him.
Because this was a reshoot, actually.
I'm certain it was. That's usually how that stuff turns out.
Yeah. That actor had shaved. Yes, there it is. That's what he looked like earlier in the film. This is what he looks like at this point in the film. I say, like, the horror and the macabre is so bad, it scared his mustache right off his face.
Maybe.
Like,
guess we'll just blow this up. But it
just replaced it with some tape.
It's like the worst looking thing ever, too. It's like, why would you do that? Just no.
After a bunch of investigation, Glenn is able to track down Ricky's body, find out he's still alive. He's just badly beaten. Glenn takes him up to the office to kind of make sure he's okay, while Ronnie and Susie go looking for Angela and Paul. They find them on the beach. Their backs are faced. Angela's back is faced to them. It looks like Paul's resting in her lap. Angela's kind of whispering a song. They're kind of slowly trying to walk up to him, like, guys, we got to get to the cabins. Come on. And then we're treated to a flashback scene out of nowhere, where it's Ricky's mother talking to the surviving child after that accident. The kid's head is all wrapped up and bandaged, so we could tell it's one of the kids. We were assuming it's a baby Angela or a young Angela.
Yes.
She's talking, and the mom goes on some crazy long dialogue of her questioning herself, and then, oh, no, that can't just be. That's what I always say. Yes, that's right.
Oh, God.
And
She's so cringe.
yeah. And then decides, well, I've always wanted a little girl, but now that my husband left, that won't happen. Well, we can't have another boy, so we'll have to have a little girl. Is that all right with you, Peter?
Mm-hmm.
Then we find out that this whole time, Angela has actually been Peter, living as Angela.
Yes.
So this is probably where we really are going to full stop and talk about this.
Yeah, well...
Because this dives into a lot of different psychological... Yeah.
So we find out that Peter's been living as Angela, and then we're treated to what appears to be Angela or Peter. It gets really, really problematic, fuzzy.
Yeah, here.
Who apparently chewed off the head of the boy. I'm brain farting on his name. I know you mentioned a couple. Paul, yes.
Paul.
She has chewed off his head.
I think she cut it off.
Did she? I mean, her mouth was covered with blood. Anyways.
Yeah.
And then we're treated to this scene. This scene is edited, but...
God, she's a boy.
Yeah, see, there's repetition, Ronnie. Yeah.
Yeah. And... Oh boy. I mean, just judging from a filmmaking perspective, this looks really bad.
No, this looks like superimposed.
It doesn't even look...
And it's jarring to look at it as a still. Because, I mean,
yeah.
I clearly see it's a mask.
Yeah. It looks like some sort of Angela mask or something on a male body. It's not a frame similar to what Angela had throughout the movie, which you would think you'd want to shoot for.
Yeah, or go with.
Yeah.
I know that the actor who portrayed this stand-in of Peter Angela, I know that he had to get a little liquid encouragement going. So I know that they bought him like a 6-pack of beer, but the scene where you see Ronnie and Susie approaching, you see him in the distance just kind of throwing off his shirt in the background, kind of like right by those bleachers. Like you see it in the film. Like he's just slightly out of, like just beyond a dune, thinking he's out of frame, but he's really not. And I mean, yeah, I imagine like you'd have to get some liquid encouragement to be bearing it all in front of a whole crew and some people. Like, yeah.
There's so many issues with this.
But this, like, yeah, I mean, I read a hot take on this.
All right.
And it was and I want to be as clear about this as I can. The view I'm about to recite or kind of recall as best to my knowledge was from the viewpoint of a trans person.
Okay.
So I believe the trans person was male transitioning to female. Now their perspective on it was she was saying that the whole time she viewed Angela as like a queen and this as a representation of trans experience. So it kind of being a good a good light of it and a bad light in it at the same time, because people can look at it and just think, oh, ew.
Mm-hmm.
But more of like from the positive side of it, being that, Angela comes in. Some boys are talking to her more than the others. Girls are going to get mad at Angela, Judy and Meg. A lot of the boys, some of the other boys are thinking she's weird and they just want to mess with her and be dicks. Those group of older guys. And there are people who just genuinely are interested in them. Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of it's an interesting viewpoint from that perspective. But, I mean, for it being like a positive way, I mean, I could see her being Angela, just kind of being like, yeah, that I guess that would be a good positive light for that.
Yeah, it's I
It's
mean,
like I said,
obviously,
it's a take. It is a take. It's not my own, but it is one that I read that I kind of thought was noteworthy of bringing up.
it's impossible to properly discuss this as being
Yeah.
cis white males. At the same
Yes.
time, we're talking about this movie, so we're here.
Yeah, we're here, so
This
we
is-
gotta talk about it.
Yes, it is.
Like, we both have no fucking place to.
Yes, but here we are.
In the context of the film, this is how we're discussing.
There's ways to look at this, because this wasn't Heater's choice. This was forced upon him, so you could argue that's psychological damage. Yes.
Yes, yeah. It was, and like Peter didn't have a say in it, and Peter did just experience some serious trauma.
Yeah.
So he's definitely misdiagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, and the damage that could do on one's psyche is just it's unknown, because all those cases are different.
Mm-hmm.
So like the psychological trauma he probably experienced watching his father and sister die right in front of him, I couldn't even, God.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, yeah, the non-problematic way to handle this movie is to save the beginning. Like, I don't even understand why that beginning's in the beginning with the kids and the boat and all that.
To show us the young Jersey Shore.
Yeah, you saw that at the end.
Jersey Shore.
And then the reveal is that Angela suffered this traumatic experience. She was the only survivor, and now she's crazy. But it adds this extra layer of it's actually Peter, and wow.
Like, I don't know if this was just a choice made for shock.
Yeah.
And not so much the fact of, like, what Angela or Peter actually represents, but just the shock of it.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, I have this edited. You get the full Monty in the movie. Which is it looks terrible, by the way.
Well, there's also a lot of bare male ass in this movie too.
Yeah, yes, there is. Yeah, usually in these movies you get lots of boobs, and I don't think there's any here.
No,
guy boobs here.
No,
I think
actually,
the closest we get.
I think maybe a partial when Meg dies.
Mm-hmm.
Like when she maybe falls out of the tub or the shower stall, but that might be it.
I don't even think we see anything then.
Yeah, I'm thinking like, or maybe when she's stabbed. She's in the shower, so
yes.
I'm just thinking possibly there was
I think the camera's out of view for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, now this movie has brought up trans issues because that's the deal. The movie this is kind of. I would almost hate this movie if it wasn't so just not thoughtful as to what it actually is doing. Because you know it's doing it for shock value. At the same time, it's dropping this massive bomb that this is a trans character and treating it like, oh my god, of course they're the killer. They're trans.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That is just a little
hell of a take there.
Yeah, that's even worse than the pedophile.
Yeah.
But about this though, the kills are very just. Every one of them.
Well, the kids.
Like Art. The kids threw sand on her. Maybe not them.
Yeah.
Maybe not them, but Artie, he tried to molest her.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, Judy.
Now I need to rewatch it.
Judy and Meg were both real bitches and mean, and Meg hit her.
I don't know if I'd quite go far as say they're just. They're all awful. The only one I would say is probably just would be the pedophile, because fuck that piece of shit.
And maybe Mel. Maybe Mel.
Yeah, it's true. Well, yeah, Mel definitely. Not because of anything he did to her, but because of what he did to Ricky. Yeah. He's a real piece of shit to Ricky. I'm like, Jesus, dude, take it easy. You know what I mean?
So, my closing thought on this, like Sleepaway Camp, the acting is campy for a lack of a better word and over the top. The characters are as well very much over the top. understandable killings. For once, a horror is like, this one is actually very rewatchable for, cheese factor, that, and kind of to engage in good thought and conversation as well. The fourth one in the series, well, this is brought on
there's
several
4.
different
Oh my
series.
God.
Yes, there are. There's actually one pseudo. This one actually kind of has a weird little history to it. 2 and 3 were shot back to back, one right after the other. I believe either that or Collet, or they were filmed side by side. Both made to be direct to, network.
Okay.
So the violence was toned down quite a bit in the third one, I believe, which has a different actress, Pamela Springsteen plays Angela in that. Yes. Her brother is exactly who you think it is.
Oh, shit. No, I just assumed it was a coincidence. Holy shit.
Yeah. No, her brother is exactly who you think he is.
Okay.
Those ones, however, they kind of up more and go straight for the comedy and the cheap laughs, and sometimes they hit on the violence, more so in the third one. The third one's called Teenage Wasteland, and the second one is called Unhappy Campers. The second one is definitely the better of the two, but the fourth one is apparently a return to Camp Arawak, which has the returns of Ronnie, Angela, and Ricky.
Now, are you sure the third one's not called Baba O'Reilly?
No, there's a young punker kid who's in there who is all of the last one, the 3, that has this couple who takes these at-risk teens out from the inner city into nature and gets them back. Yeah. Do you remember House of a Thousand Corpses?
Oh God, it's been a while. I love the menu for that.
Remember the guy in the beginning at Captain Spaulding's shack who was in there talking to him, talking about that guy they knew who had Dr. Zaya stuck up his ass?
Absolutely
the
not.
older.
I remember.
The older
I remember Captain Spaulding. I remember.
Yeah, there was an older guy that was there who was kind of an actor. Who is an actor, but he was an older cat. He's in this, and he plays like a creep who is all about messing around with the at-risk dirty girls that he and his wife pick up. His wife is just lazy and likes the government checks. So that they're so at least terrible characters have stayed a constant throughout this series.
No, well, I should hope.
The fourth one, that one does feature Ricky, Ronnie, and Angela as returning cast members. But that one is, I believe that is one that is also written by the original writer and director of this one, of the first one. The other two were not, didn't have any returning production or anything. They just casted everybody, and those 2 and 3 are just, they're good in the sense of just a bad movie.
Okay. Well,
worth one watch each.
I would think I'd probably hate this movie just for the whole how it treats trans issues.
Right.
Which I said, there's already caveats to how it treats it. But overall, I'd probably think I'd hate it. Except there's so much just inconsistencies with it, and how the whole movie is almost handled is all over the place.
Yeah, there is a lot of cringe factor to
Oh,
this.
God, it goes from cringe to, oh, well, that was actually pretty good. And then cringe. And then cringe.
Yeah, I mean...
It is fun if you can handle some cringe, a lot of fucking cringe, some hardcore cringe at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it is. And it is definitely something that could be problematic.
Yes.
The
biggest saving grace is that you can't possibly watch this movie and think of it as any sort of moral lesson, which kind of saves it. Kind of.
No. Now, I mean, I know that the actress who played Angela in the original, Felicity Rose, she still does a lot of press and publication and tours still promoting this film. She appears at screenings for this. And it has a huge fan base. But But it definitely is something that I think has, like, it is definitely some great garbage that is
Oh
worth
God,
some.
yeah.
And those are my closing thoughts on Sleepaway Camp.
I think I already worked my way in there. Yeah, it's yeah, I guess since it was brought up upon, I'll just go ahead and quickly say, my deep thoughts on trans issues are essentially the libertarian ideology. Do what you want to do as an adult. I'm cool.
You're a human being, and by the laws of this country, you are a legal adult.
Yeah.
Do what makes you happy.
Exactly. Your time on Earth is limited. Whatever makes you happy, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else, go for it.
Regardless, my own personal creed is like, regardless of theological or governing laws of man, you're allowed to be happy. You're allowed to be happy.
Yeah, I just thought it was important to tackle that. But
no, thank you for actually. Yes, it was. Yeah, because you had to with this.
This movie is problematic, but obviously it's not a moral lesson. It is dumb, and it can be appreciated as a very, very dumb movie.
And a lot of it is, in fact, just a dumb movie. Mm-hmm.
I want to go ahead and add some audio credits at the end here. The theme music you're hearing at the beginning and end of this podcast was written and performed by George Johnson, a very good friend of mine. And my current Patreons are Fel Martins, David Lara, and Lindsay Pankhurst. If you'd like to become a patron, go ahead and follow the link down below. Anything you can provide would be incredibly helpful to this channel. We're barely limping by right now. I'd love to make this my full-time job, but I'm miles away from that right now. So any help you could provide, just $1 a month would be amazing. You know you want to. All your friends are doing it.